All glories to Him. Listen. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Today's readings from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 31. Narada instructs the Pachetas, text 27. Yo Narada Atmavidyam Yo Narada Atmavidyam Adigamya Punar Mahim Adigamya Punar Mahim Bhutva Vipajya Putrebhya Bhutva Vipajya Purevhya Aisvaram Samagat Param Aisvaram Samagat Param Yo Narada Atmavidyam Adigamya Punar Mahim Bhutva Vipajya Putrebhya Aisvaram Samagat Param Yo Narada Atmavidyam Adigamya Punar Mahim Bhutva Vipajya Putrebhya Aisvaram Samagat Param Yo Narada Atmavidyam Adigamya Punar Mahim Bhutva Vipajya Putrebhya
Bhutta Vibhajya Putrebhya Aishwaram Samagaparam Yo Naradad Atma Vidyam Adigamya Punarmanim Bhutta Vibhajya Putrebhya Aishwaram Samagaparam Yo Naradad Atma Vidyam Adigamya Punarmanim Bhutta Vibhajya Putrebhya Aishwaram Samagaparam Yo Naradad Atma Vidyam Adigamya Punarmanim Bhutta Vibhajya Putrebhya Aishwaram Samagaparam Yo Naradad Atma Vidyam Adigamya Punarmanim Bhutta Vibhajya Putrebhya Aishwaram Samagaparam Yo Naradad Atma Vidyam Adigamya Punarmanim Bhutta Vibhajya Putrebhya Aishwaram Samagaparam.
Yeah. One who? Narada. From the great sage Narada. Atma Vidyam. Spiritual knowledge. Adigamya. After learning. Puna. Again. Mahi. The earth. Bhutva. After enjoying. Vibhajya. After dividing. Putrebhya. Unto his sons. Aishwaram. Transcendental. Samagat. Achieved. Padam. Position. Translation. Although Maharaj Priyavrata received instructions from the great sage Narada, he still engaged in ruling the earth. After fully enjoying material possessions, he divided his property among his sons. He then attained a position by which he could return home back to Godhead. Now, this Priyavrata, was it described previously, or is it going to be?
It's the fifth canto, maybe.
Fifth, okay.
But he's mentioned, but he's more or less, the story is told in the fifth canto.
Okay. Right. So Priyavrata, he, so we just finished the Uttanapada lineage there, the Puchani Parisad, with the Pachetas, and now we're going to go into Priyavrata, the other son of Swayambhuva. So one son's lineage was described, and now we're going to the other son, Priyavrata, who was instructed by Narada Muni to give up, material pursuits, and he was all for it. Priyavrata was all for it, but then they needed somebody to be king. So Brahma and Vishnu? No. Brahma came down, Brahma came down to encourage Priyavrata to take the position of king, because generally kings don't really have a chance for renunciation. So, and he did take that, but he did it in a detached way, and because it made so much advancement, and then he attained a position by which he could return home back to Godhead. So that will be described soon coming up. Sorry, I can't remember what it was. So now we'll go into text 28. I'll just read the Sanskrit alone. Imam tu kusavarin pavaritam shutasam nisam yajita bhada satkatam pravrita bhavo shru kala kulonir dadaram charanam ridahare. Translation: My dear king, in this way, after hearing the transcendental messages of the Supreme Personality Godhead and his devotees from the great sage Maitreya, Vidura was overwhelmed with ecstasy. With tears in his eyes, he immediately fell down at the lotus feet of his guru, his spiritual master. He then fixed the Supreme Personality Godhead within the core of his heart. Please repeat, my dear king, in this way, after hearing the transcendental messages of the Supreme Personality Godhead and his devotees from the great sage Maitreya, Vidura was overwhelmed with ecstasy. With tears in his eyes, he immediately fell down at the lotus feet of his guru, his spiritual master. He then fixed the Supreme Personality Godhead within the core of his heart. This is a sign of associating with great devotees. A devotee takes instructions from a liberated soul and is thus overwhelmed by ecstasy from transcendental pleasure. As stated by Prahlad Maharaj, Naishammatistavad urukramagrim sprasyatya anartamata pagamo yad artaha mahiyasam pararvajo vishekam niskinchananam narvanikayavad. Bhagavatam 7.5.32. One cannot become a perfect devotee of the Lord without having touched the lotus feet of a great devotee. One who has nothing to do with this material world is called Nikinchana. The process of self-realization in the path home, back to Godhead, means surrendering to the bona fide spiritual master and taking the dust of his lotus feet on one's head. Thus, one advances on the path of transcendental realization. Vidura had this relationship with Maitreya, and he attained the results. Here's my problem again. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translations repeated. Although Maharaj Priyavrata received instructions from the great sage Narada, he still engaged in ruling the earth. After fully enjoying material possessions, he divided his property among his sons. He then attained a position by which he could return home back to Godhead. Text 28. My dear king, in this way, after hearing the transcendental messages of the Supreme Personality Godhead and his devotees from the great sage Maitreya, Vidura was overwhelmed with ecstasy. With tears in his eyes, he immediately fell down at the lotus feet of his guru, his spiritual master. He then fixed the Supreme Personality Godhead within the core of his heart. So, this is quite amazing, actually. Vidura is Yamaraj, who got cursed to become Sudra, but not a bad curse when you're in the association of such amazing devotees. Krishna's on the planet. So, and then he gets to spend time with Maitreya. It's a nice vacation from his job, from what I see. But anyways, so yeah, we hear from the pure devotees, we get complete ecstasy. I remember when I was first coming around honoring prasadam here twice a day for hours on end. And I guess Dasrata Prabhu told Guru Shakti Prabhu to spend time with me. And so he sat down while I'm honoring prasadam, and he started talking all kinds of transcendental cool stuff. Honestly, I don't think I heard a word he said, but all I knew, because I don't know, my brain wasn't working, colleague of brain, it takes a while to get the brain working. Really, I don't think I heard a word he said, But all I knew is, in my mind, I was going, my external self was saying, could you please get away from me? But my internal self, and I could hear it really clearly, was, please just keep talking to me. Because I'm sure my body language was like, yeah, whatever, I'm trying to honest Prashad, a human being is near me, oh my God, like that. But internally I was going, please just don't stop talking, because I'm getting so much nectar out of this. I mean, I don't think I heard a word he said. And, he's probably making perfect clear, just like the Shastra here. But my brain wasn't working at all. So here's a nice, not that I was exactly quite like Vidura there, being a totally pure devotee and receiving such wonderful instructions from another pure devotee, So, but the ecstasy, I really got the ecstasy. Wow, I mean, that was complete nectar. And then I remember happening again a little later when I was coming around a little longer. And I was going into, just hearing Guru Shakti talk, I was going into laughing ecstasy. I thought I would die, actually, because my stomach was hurting so bad from laughing so much. It just, because, I don't know, it was so far up to complete ecstasy. So here, we see the nectar that we get, that people get when they get these books too, because how many people are going to come around the center and go, I want to hear from a pure devotee? Does that happen? Probably not too often. Oh, it did happen when I was here. This person got a book from NAU or Flagstaff, and then he came down here just to hear from a devotee. So that was pretty darn ecstatic. He lasted a while. Anyway, so going back to my program here. So, in reality, we're all, not necessarily Vidura, but, probably all of us, apologize if some of this doesn't apply to you, but Prabhupada says we're all born a fool and a rascal. We're all born a fool and a rascal. We're born in ignorance, conditioned souls, trying to be God. That's why we're here, why we were here at least. And we're trying to play Krishna's role. And we go about, but there's all these other people trying to play Krishna's role, and it's not working out. But we still don't get it. I'm speaking about, previous to coming to Krishna consciousness. So we think, the happiness can be found in this material dimension. And it's all due to ignorance, right? It's three different kinds of energies, and the ignorant energy that results in the living entity trying to go for fruitive activities, some sort of gain in this material dimension. That's a sign of ignorance, a symptom of being an ignorant person. So, and school knowledge, of course, is still ignorance. The university schools that we were raised with, that kind of knowledge, does not provide the illumination in the heart where we get a download from Krishna. The school knowledge is still influenced by the material modes of nature. It does not help one get out of this material dimension. As it states in Bhagavad Gita, knowledge is misunderstood in the purport, that big long verse in chapter 13, 8 to 12, yeah. But the real purpose of this human form of life is to get out of this quagmire of material nature, existence, this dungeon. It's Durga. It's a dungeon. It's a prison. So to get out of prison is what intelligent people go for. But this requires, of course, knowledge. And the only way we're going to get perfect knowledge is through sampradaya. This sampradaya, as we oftentimes see, right? All these groups, they claim to be A, B, and C, but then you offer them a book and they go, no. That means I'm going to have to surrender to Krishna. I'm attached. So, or whatever they're thinking. They might be thinking actually somewhat purely innocently, but still, if they avoid the sampradaya, we see that the illumination is still not happening, at least in its full-blown state, where we really surrender to Krishna and go back to Goloka Vrindavan. And what is this essential quality needed that's described? Hold on. I know you know the answer to this one. And Bhagavad Gita 13, 8 through 12. What is that number one most important quality to receive this illumination? Anybody remember? Was it? Yeah. There are another words used that Prabhupada uses, but that's totally related. It's a different page in this one. Let's see. 13, 8 to 12. There we go. Yeah. So it's humility. It's the first one, humility. And Prabhupada writes, just humility, pridelessness, nonviolence, tolerance, many, many other things. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. So these are necessary things. I didn't read all of them. I might as well read all of them. Why not? Humility, pridelessness, nonviolence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Here we see that element again. Cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness in pleasant and unpleasant events, constant unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. Prabhupada writes in the purport, the last paragraph, beginning from practicing humility up to the point of realization of the supreme truth, the absolute personality Godhead, this process is just like a staircase beginning from the ground floor and going up to the top floor. Now on this staircase, there are so many people who have reached the first floor, the second, the third floor, etc. But unless one reaches the top floor, which is understanding of Krishna, he is at a lower stage of knowledge. If anyone wants to compete with God and at the same time make advancement in spiritual knowledge, he will be frustrated. It is clearly stated that without humility, understanding is not truly possible. I'll repeat that. It is clearly stated that without humility, understanding is not truly possible. To think oneself God is most puffed up. Although the living entity is always being kicked by the stringent laws of material nature, he still thinks, I am God, because of ignorance. The beginning of knowledge, therefore, is amanitva, humility. The beginning of knowledge is humility. I think the Christians in the Bible, I believe it states that the beginning of knowledge is fear of God. So similar. You're accepting a higher power that's greater than you. One should be humble and know that he is subordinate to the Supreme Lord. There we go. Due to rebelling against the Supreme Lord, one becomes subordinate to material nature. Due to rebelling against the Supreme Lord, one becomes subordinate to material nature, unless no one can be convinced of this truth. So we're talking, have to be humble in order to receive. And it's so critical that we are humble around our spiritual authorities, because that's where the flow is coming from, right? Sorry. What is that famous verse in the Bhagavad Gita that talks about how we receive knowledge? Chapter 4. Chapter 4. Text. How do we get knowledge? Krishna says, this is the way to receive knowledge. This is the way to there we go. Yeah. So again, nice word there that Madhusudananda perfectly enunciated there. Text 34. So just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge into you, because they have seen the truth. So this approaching a spiritual master is needed. You know that verse that the biggest yet, something like that. What is that? Okay. So if one wants to know the truth, one must approach a spiritual master that you'll find in other places in the Vedas. That's a standard program. Why? Well, Krishna, you see the spiritual master as God, he's a representative of God. So we go through the representative, the only way to get the Father is through the representative of the Father. So that's the program, going through the representative. As we please the representative of God, Krishna agrees to reveal himself proportionally. So this is the process by which we can realize Krishna and make a permanent solution to all the problems and miseries of life. And avoiding this is really where you see, well, within my own consciousness or with others making it or not, And we see so many people get derailed, but really what it comes down to is this one basic principle, Okay, what's that verse? One has implicit faith in both Guru and Krishna. One has implicit faith in both, and where's that at?
That is the Upanishad.
Okay. One has implicit faith in both Guru and Krishna, all the imports of the Vedas are revealed automatically. So isn't that nice? Can you imagine being blindfolded and playing golf and hitting a hole in one each time? Wouldn't that be nice? And that's what this is for spirituality, the hole in one being Krishna, Pure Krishna, playing the flute right there, right in front of you. Wow. That's what we get if we just have implicit faith in both Guru and Krishna, and everything is revealed. Everything. All the purports of the Vedas are completely revealed. So what is in the way of getting that is just our desire to play God. So if we just set that aside by gaining knowledge, we realize that that's not the smart way to go. Let me just do the smart way to go. Apply it and take up the process of sadhana bhakti, bhakti. Then we gradually across the ocean of this meshness. And truly, I'm sure this temple has perhaps the lowest fatality rate of all devotees. Bloop rate, I should say. Fatality rate, that's, if it's getting kind of older, that's a little touchy of a statement, sorry. Bloop rate is what I meant, what I'm meaning. So we see the same people here, and they're not leaving. Why? Because they're getting something out of all this, It's not that you get your, maybe you can, if you're lucky, you get a stipend, but probably most of you aren't getting any stipend. So, and prashadam is really good though. But still, that's not enough to get somebody to totally take to all this. So, you're getting something out of this. We get the realization as we apply it. And speaking about humble, I just spent a couple of days with Ganapati Maharaj, and he was saying how he needs to go out for two reasons. I can't remember the first reason right now, but the second reason is what matters to this class is because it keeps him humble. He mentioned something like that. You can't go out. You go out there. And here he is giving this, these stellar 3-hour classes. I mean, we're talking, wow. Here he's studying the the name of the book. I got it. Anyway, I'll lose my place, but I forgot the name of the book. And we're studying different versions of it, what is it? Banu Swami's and also BBT's version. We're comparing everything, going to incredible detail. I mean, incredible detail. It's a really profound time. I might lose my place, but I'll look it up anyways. Here we go. I can't believe I forgot this. Okay, Log of Bhagavatam. Yeah, sorry. And wow, what difference it makes to receive knowledge. I found so much clearing of cobwebs in my consciousness. For example, we're studying the different tattvas, Shiva tattva, and the detail of it. I always thought that he's part Jiva and part Krishna, right? At least I did. But actually, he's not Jiva at all. He's apparently Jiva. It's Krishna, Vishnu, playing the role, playing this position in the material world. But there's no Jiva there at all. It's apparent that he's a Jiva, but it's not. So the words are superficial and apparent. So it's actually not actual. So it's really profound. And that just clears up a lot of things in my consciousness. Because how can it be a part Jiva, part? I always had these issues, So many, many different things like that by going further into knowledge. And that clears out the cobwebs. And by studying all this, like it says in Bhagavad Gita 10:8,
I am the source of all materials for this world that you make for me. Why do you have this devotional service?
You mean the one before that? No. Let's see. No. Yeah, one who is factually convinced of this knowledge and mystic power of mind engages in unalloyed devotional service of this there is no doubt. Prabhupada makes a purport. Just to know Krishna as great isn't enough for surrender. We know how great Krishna is. Really, we really get to know all the intricate details of how Krishna is great. It's like, of course we're going to surrender to this person. Wow. Just imagine, he came down as Lord Chaitanya. One of the internal reasons is to experience the ecstasy that's greater than his ecstasy playing Krishna, that the devotee of God experiences. So how much of an idiot are we if we try to play God? That's going to get a less of an ecstasy than the devotee of God gets, right? Just more and more we know Krishna, the more we understand this, just that surrender is just a natural byproduct of understanding. So it behooves us to take time out studying these books on a regular basis. And again, the power of this book distribution, people, like I said earlier, are not coming to this temple generally to go, hey, it might happen sometimes. I'd like to understand this. And they come to the class, and that's all wonderful, and that's there. But there's vast majority that's not going to do that and might not even know about it. In fact, I'm meeting people, just a little tidbit to the management here. But just a thought. This isn't a put down at all. Just a reality of data. I'm up in Grand Canyon and I meet people that are Mount Rushmore, and they say that, yeah, they live in, I ask them where do you live because I want to hook them up with a temple or whatever. And then they say, some of them say Tucson. Like, oh, do you know about Govindas? Govindas? No. And they live there 20 years. So then they find out about Govindas, and I give them a 5 plus star, rating, and then they probably will come around. So we need to go out there and let people know about this. It is the best place in Tucson. I lived here for 20 years of my life-ish. And this is by far the best place. There's nothing anywhere comes close. And people need to know about it. And then they'll come around and make advancement. So going back to, backing up just a little bit, we're going to Pati Maharaj. He mentioned that here he is giving these stellar classes, and people were enthralled and everything. And he's, gets a little bit of chastisement there too. We're not paying attention, whatever, which keeps us sharp and good, nothing bad, all wonderful. But then he makes the point that, when I go out there on book distribution, they could care less what kind of position I have or whatever. If I have a sense of any kind of puffed upness, they reciprocate with that and, give me a hard time or whatever. They want to see some humble person, So it helps to keep us, book distribution, the reason why he wants to go out also is also to keep humble. So not to mention, to make the unfortunate fortunate. As Prabhupada says, the duty of the fortune to make the unfortunate fortunate. And the more we give Krishna, the more we get Krishna. So this is definitely an essential part of Krishna consciousness if we want to make rapid advancement. And just to show the power of the books, I just heard a class from Radhanath Swami who talked about, he was there serving in New Vrindavan, and somebody comes by, says, "Yeah, I'd like to talk with a devotee." And so they talked for a while, and Maharaj asked him, "Is this your first time meeting devotees?" "Yes." And and then he encouraged them to chant Hare Krishna, and he goes, "Yeah, he says, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah, I chant 16 rounds every day." He's like, "What? Chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna, Hare." It's pronounced Hare. Hare Krishna, okay. And he was, and he offered prasadam, and, whatever else, observe Ekadasi, or something. I don't know, whatever it was. So I don't know if that part was in it, but I met somebody that said that exact way. Yeah, I do Ekadasi. He never met devotees, but he's applying it all. And here's Maharaj, just met somebody that's saying 16 rounds every day, and this and that. And it says in here, I should go associate with devotees, so that's why I'm here. He just learned all this from Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada's in his books. He's associating with Prabhupada, the pure devotee. He's getting the ecstasy, and he's applying it. And he's got so much realization. He was sharing his realization. It's like, wow, got all this, never meeting devotees. Just getting Prabhupada's books. So, but somebody asked Prabhupada, what's so if everything's in your books, Prabhupada, why do we need you? Yeah, I mean, it was a nice, real statement, nothing weird there. And Prabhupada says, I think he grabbed his ear. He says, can the books do this? Pulled his ear. So both is needed. Yeah. So the more we give Krishna, the more we see Krishna. And it's interesting why I was given this verse today. I had this realization right before the program started this morning, and it was, I go 8 months without seeing a devotee, up in Mount Rushmore, Grand Canyon. So you're around devotees, it's a very special time, and it's an extremely special time. And it's very easy to see Krishna working around devotees, easier, I should say. And I had this realization that, oh my goodness, how I treat the devotees is how I'm going to be treating Krishna. Because the devotees are so dear to Krishna, just like, Vidura is not going to get much from Maitreya if he treats him not so well, kind of puffed up and tries to tell him what to do or whatever. He's not going to get a good flow of ecstasy from that, right? So I had some of this realization this morning. And every devotee, Brandon Bhakta or whatever, these are very dear to Krishna. And I'm I don't want to be a bull in a china shop. So let me chill out here a little bit and, try to get the flow that Vidura is getting here, the ecstasy. And then, having realized that about getting this verse, then here we see 435, Krishna says in the very next verse is, you know this?
Having approached such a spiritual master, one never falls down again in such illusion, because you can see that all beings are part of the supreme order of the words, that they are mine.
I'll repeat that just in case you didn't hear it from the recording. Having obtained real knowledge from the self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion, for by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are a part of the Supreme. Or in other words, that they are mine. So, these are dear, Krishna so dear. And that's part of studying that book that we're studying with the different tattvas and whatever. And we're actually all part of Krishna, and now it's all related with Krishna. So that's the same next. Then I realized, oh my God, that's the next verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Wow, how all that just comes together so nicely. Krishna's mercy. The result of receiving knowledge from the self-realized soul, or one who knows things as they are, and is learning that all living beings are parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. The sense of an existence separate from Krishna is called Maya. So, and especially with devotees, it's such great to have some realization that, if I can please the devotees, I'm pleasing Krishna. And we all know that in principle, that's our whole philosophy. But seeing it more that way was extremely helpful. So thank you, Krishna, for that. I should probably stop here and ask if there's any questions. So I was looking for one other thing that I wanted to go into. Maybe I can remember it. Find it. I'll find it. If anybody has any questions. Yeah. Oh, wait. Maybe somebody first, because you're always rocking. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. It's really so enlivening to have you here. We feel like when Vidura came back in the first canto to the Pandavas and came to enlighten Dhritarashtra, everybody was enlightened by the presence of a saintly person. So we feel that when you come here. So my question is this verse, you spoke about the humility and the nature of approaching a spiritual master and how serving the spiritual master is the active principle in our spiritual lives. And in our movement, I just got back from El Paso. I was teaching the ISKCON Disciples course there to about 7 devotees. And they're all, fired up, getting ready for initiation. So it was very ecstatic. And we hear about, Prabhupada's position as the Shiksha Guru of ISKCON. And, of course, we have our own individual Diksha Guru and our own individual Shiksha Gurus. But I always think of you as a great example of someone who's so dedicated to serving Prabhupada and has a deep relationship with Prabhupada. And I was wondering if you can give us some personal realization on each ISKCON devotee's relationship with Prabhupada and the Diksha Guru, and what does that look like in your experience?
I heard what you said, but could you repeat the last sentence?
Yeah, so every devotee has a relationship with Prabhupada and with their own guru, and you're such a dedicated servant of Prabhupada and in this way serving his books and distributing them. I was wondering if you can just share your realization on that, our relationship with Prabhupada, our relationship with the Diksha Guru, and how that kind of works in ISKCON. What does that look like to you?
I think, Prabhupada's the main guru in a sense, right? So we're trying to please Prabhupada, and then these Diksha Gurus are helping us to do that. That's their role, is to help us please Prabhupada. All through the Parampara. When we fray that wire, the flow is going to be inhibited of mercy. So the Diksha Guru is just helping to kind of like solder that new bhakta or whatever, any of us, to the wire, to where there's no fray. And that's his real role, should be. And then when that flow just becomes perfect, then solder another wire to you. So but Prabhupada is the one there. It's like maybe I'm trying to use, I don't know much about electricity actually, but Krishna's a powerhouse. But the instructions as to how to do all that was given to us by Prabhupada. We can't be messing with that. Can't be modifying that. That has to stay like that. And so those that are chaste to that will then be proper Diksha Gurus to align people with that. And we try to bypass anything like that. We're really doing an injustice. So that's critical Everybody plays those kind of roles properly. And that's why the authoritative structure is there. A lot of people, again, try to bypass this authoritative structure, but that's why it's there, to make sure that we stay chaste to Prabhupada. So that's essential. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you. Beautiful.
Yeah. Good question.
It's nice to hear that from someone who we feel is advanced and elevated, you know, and hear from you who's serving Prabhupada so nicely. Thank you.
Yeah, there can be a lot of weird contamination out there. I'm on the spontaneous platform. We don't need Prabhupada anymore, right? That's kind of weird stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Yeah, now that is the, I mean, there's many different groups out there and so forth, so I'm not gonna knock that at all, especially when they're true to the parampara. But you gotta, red flags at least go up in my head, maybe due to just because of misunderstanding or not enough understanding, but still, Prabhupada's for sure, right? So,
Yeah. When you're out distributing books for so long, and you do this as there, you feel yourself that you're
so they can hear.
you're meditating. They can this mic's really big.
Oh, okay, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, it can pick up.
Okay.
So you feel like you're offering everything to Prabhupada in that sense, that he's your main meditation when you're out distributing books, in that sense.
In my main meditation, distributing books. I mean, I had that one quote unquote dream with Prabhupada where he told me to distribute books. So that I always, even before that though, I always felt like after the end of the day, I paid my obeisances to Prabhupada, and he would be smiling, really happy with me, sort of happy with me, or not so happy with me, depending on how well I applied myself. I mean, I just literally pick that up, no problem. So that would be my barometer of how happy I was for the day. If I pleased Prabhupada, that did everything for me. That was everything. I had no other, or I should say, it's still the same thing. It's just, I'm not paying my obeisances on his mercy, this mercy here, so a different way. So, but I do want to add a little part to that, I really pushed hard this last month in December. It was my greatest December for book distribution ever. It was phenomenal. I mean, Krishna's mercy. But I really tried hard. And I don't know, just really got in the zone and really tried hard. And then I saw my guru happy with me. And that, I mean, he's always been kind of happy with me, but this time he was really happy with me. And I felt like, finally he's really happy with me, So at least from that month endeavor. So that felt phenomenal. Like, because I don't know, my guru is maybe chipping away at some other elements of myself that's needed. And I always felt like there was not quite happy with me, but that time he really was happy. I guess like the grandfather maybe, but it's easier to please perhaps than the father. Prabhupada makes a comment like that.
Yeah.
And Prabhupada's guru, he always seems happy with me. I don't know, it's the way I perceive it. As long as I'm focused on this book distribution and not like that. So there's different elements to it perhaps. I haven't picked it all apart, maybe enough people to enunciate all the details properly.
That was beautiful, Prabhu. Thank you. I was really wondering about your realization on the matter. We can say so many things what the books say, what ISKCON says, but it's nice to hear how it works when we see someone that's working for.
I think Krishna is so pleased when we just purely apply the program. I remember when I was really new, kind of burned out at U of A because I'm just only distributing books pretty much, and then decided to go to different places. So I went to NAU. I'm in my little pickup. It's a tiny pickup. You can't even sit up in the back of it, the cover in the back, and it's snow on the ground. And but I'm just not thinking. Just want to more of a, I don't know, kind of like trying to just purely apply it. We didn't even think about any of these things. And I remember I got so much realization that one japa time. And I'm like, wow. I mean, the television, the heart clears and you get to see things. And that was like, I remember going, wow, this really, really works. I mean, this is it. I mean, just confirmation. Then you really know that Krishna's pleased, when Krishna reveals things to you like that. You know that you're doing it right. And that's a good barometer to have, I mean, if we're seeing literally Krishna, then we know we're properly situated, or we're seeing, it's a good barometer there. And just the opposite, if we're really agitated, and attracted to things of the material dimension and having trouble with devotee relationships and a lot in your mind, and there's no obviously static and television set, we know we got to adjust. So that's perhaps a good barometer to put in there as well. Yeah, we might imagine that Prabhupada is really pleased with us, but if we're not getting a download, then maybe we're not. So Guru Shada and Sastra, and Krishna there for that. Putting it, and we know we're doing well. Hope that's okay.
Thank you, Brother. That was beautiful. If there's no other questions, I'd like to just know what was your score for this December month, if you don't mind sharing, so we can feel inspired. Just so we can feel inspired. We know you're humble, you don't want to share.
Well, 6,800 books. You want the book points?
How many book points?
5,040. Sorry. He asked me. Mother's Nag, when I was new, she brought Madhavendra Puri, who was very humble. He says, I want you to associate with him so you can become humble. so he's got your job, right? So he asked me, that's what I should. Okay.
We're being humble.
We're being humble. All of us together didn't even come close to now.
The flow, keeping that flow going. And we all are in the flow. Just, the more we can get out there, though, pleases Krishna like anything. One thing when I was new here, Dasrath Prabhu shared something that really inspired me to go out more. He said, Prabhupada's guru, when he saw an insignificant brahmachari go out and just distribute a couple pamphlets and receive a couple pice, not even a rupee, he said his guru would be so pleased. So I thought, here I am, completely contaminated mess of all different kinds, completely useless nonsense, really. Yuck. But I can go, I have a chance to really please Prabhupada just by, I think I can do that, and then you feel it too. So what a great way to make great advancement, taking advantage of it, not just practical, because you all have a wonderful, wonderful thing here, this base, and doing such a fabulous job. And anybody that sees, maybe I shouldn't mention it, but anybody that comes by and says they're from Tucson, man, I can just let the glories of this place flow for me like anything, because this place is awesome. Management is awesome. Everything's awesome. You all are awesome. Everything is so awesome as well. Such an incredible way to share, Krishna consciousness. You want to bring people here, without any reservations. And that's how it should be. Thank you so much. It's really important. Thank you, Prabhu. Well, okay. Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much.